Partnered by Times Influence.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode on India's finest educators. This week we come to you from the city of lakes, Udaipur.
Udaipur, also known as the Kashmir of Rajasthan, is a major tourist destination in India. Located at the base of the Aravalli mountain range, Udaipur attracts over 8 lakh tourists every year. But apart from the exotic destinations that Udaipur has to offer, one cannot ignore the growing number of educational institutes in the city and their commitment towards providing best-in-class education to the students.
IIM Udaipur officially started in 2011 and in 2016 it moved to its permanent campus in Balicha area of Udaipur. Right now the campus is a work in progress.
IIM Udaipur is the first out of the new IIMs to move to a permanent campus. While still in the midst of constructing a world-class campus, IIMU has made sure that its essential functions such as the classrooms, hostels, the mess, a great library and a well-connected Wi-Fi network are all fully operational. The overall design of the institute reflects the traditional fortress architecture, keeping the culture and heritage of the state of Rajasthan alive.
So our campus is one of the biggest in India with 300 acres of land in Aravalli Hills.
When I looked at the data of IIM Udaipur, it gave huge diversity. The last batch had diversity. So that was one of the reasons that I chose.
Behind the hostels, there is an area where you can get a wonderful view of the hills and there's cool breeze. It's a wonderful place to hang out.
A culture of entrepreneurship, a no-boundary approach to bring about a global perspective, an immersion of rural, corporate and international projects and mentoring by industry leaders. IIM Udaipur perfectly underlie the much-needed exposure to its students. So let's find out more about IIM Udaipur from Jannat Shah, the director of the institute. Jannat, thank you for taking out time and joining us on India's finest educators. To begin with, talk to us about the history of this institution.
Sure. So, we have a rich history of IIMs in the country and they have played an important role. But the government felt that looking at the growth of the economy, there was a need to start larger number of institutions so that we can support corporate as well as take care of the student aspirations as well as ensure that different regions in the country get the advantage of IIM's education.
All right. And moving on, what was your vision during the inception? How has it evolved during the recent years?
Sure. So I think we have this advantage that we have the IIMs, which are 50-year-old institutions, who has done extremely well as a country. So if you look at older institutions like Ahmedabad and Calcutta, which started first, then Bangalore came in. So we as an institute said, can we learn from this history and ensure we build an institution which is a futuristic, global in nature, which takes advantage of the existing knowledge.
Right.
And there we had another advantage that Harvard, which is a global leader, had completed 100 years and had done a study of what should be future management education. So we took all that into account in building this institution.
And can you take us through the core values of the institute?
So we said there are two things we want to do. One, can we make sure that we build an institution which is global in nature? So there we are saying research plays a very important role. And second, the education program must be transformational in nature. For example, everything we do in the institution, just talk about one issue, for example, placement, right? A lot of external world looks at it. We are one institution, we follow auditing standards, we get our placement records audited. And there was a year when we declared that our placement was not 100%. We are the only institution, we make sure that we are completely transparent. We ensure both within the faculty community as well as in the student community the spirit of transparency and excellence.
On this note, Jannat, we would like to bring in some reactions from your students. Let's see what they have to say about the values and the culture at the institution.
So when we talk about the values, we at IIM Udaipur follow certain values, and everyone personally associate with those values.
Well, I wanted to pursue my MBA from a college which is very academically oriented, and that's the main purpose of choosing IIM Udaipur. Plus, adding to the fact the student-driven culture here that was there was a huge attraction for me, and I personally felt that my knowledge and my experience here will help me become a better manager in the future.
So, for people who have an interest in entrepreneurship and their own startup, that they're given all sorts of support on that front.
And at IIM Udaipur, students are inspired to become entrepreneurs, to become, job providers instead of job seekers. So how do you make sure this culture is practiced and promoted?
We look at entrepreneurship in a slightly broader way, because you can be entrepreneurship even within a firm.
Okay.
So, but this whole spirit of entrepreneurship is something we promote throughout. And there are several things which we do. For example, what we do is, the day students actually come to the campus, the first thing we do is an entrepreneurship workshop, because we want to instill this whole idea that entrepreneurship as a culture is a very important, right? Then throughout the program, we encourage them to work on their own ideas. So for example, if students...
So you also encourage them to be innovative.
Yes, so we are saying that even within a firm you can be innovator, right? So that spirit of innovation is a part of our curriculum. Coming back to specific entrepreneurship, for example, after a 2-year program, student can opt for an entrepreneurship rather than taking up placement. And in case he or she fails, they can come back. So we have a support. We also provide hardship allowance to our students who are entrepreneurs. Instead of a summer, they can work on their own dreams.
Okay.
And we also have an incubation center, so where we encourage our students to, take advantage of that.
Moving on, what are the different global, opportunities offered to students and faculty members?
So I think at IIM Udaipur, globalization is an important element. So for example, if you look at our students, ideally we would like each student to have a globalization experience where you physically spend some time in a different country. So currently there are 3 different ways in which you do it.
Okay.
One is the exchange program. So currently about 15 students go on exchange program, but the most ambitious is a program called International Business in Practice, where our students go and spend 2 weeks in a corporate in a different country. And through that they understand what does it mean to work in a different culture.
Okay.
So right now, for example, our students go to Malaysia, Singapore, Bangkok and Dubai, 4 different countries. Coming to faculty, we have a very strong relationship with the Purdue University and at Duke University. And we encourage our faculty to spend a semester in a research environment.
Moving on further in the conversation, can you talk to us about the Building You Together initiative?
Yeah, so I think as I mentioned, as an institution, we have completed 6 years and we've built a strong foundation and we've moved to our own campus. And now we also have our alumni. So we thought we need to ask this question again, that we have built a great foundation, but can we collectively, all stakeholders, ask this question that how do you build this a great institution? What are the things which we are doing right? What are the things we need to do which we have not done earlier? So this is a year-end dialogue which you're going to do with all the stakeholders.
Okay.
Which includes recruiter, which includes students, which includes alumni, faculty. Collectively, we are doing this exercise. Essentially, what will happen is the whole ideas will be owned by all the stakeholders.
Well, hold that thought, Jannat, because we would like to bring in some reactions from your students on the Building You Together initiative. Take a look at what they have to say.
When we were told about this whole new concept of building you together, that gave us a vibe of being in a part of a startup, So that zeal that we have, we are not bounded by any legacy. We are a new institute, we are here to create a legacy of our own.
Even though we are here for 2 years, but even after graduation, we believe that our alums, they get to stay connected with the institute because of the kind of ecosystem we have developed.
Talk to us about the fee structure.
Okay.
And what type of scholarships are offered to students?
So I think one area we want to make sure that every student who gets an admission is not denied of education because of financial issues. So one is today there are easy loans available and we facilitate that process.
Right.
But we make sure that we put about 10% of our fee income into financial assistance.
All right. And my last question to you, Jannat, is about the faculty. You know, what new parameters are introduced to recruit new faculty members?
Sure. So I think this is one area we have done extremely well. So today, if you look at our faculty, about 1/3 of our faculty have been trained in the best institutions in the world. So what we are promising to faculty is we will make sure that we'll give the best academic ambience. And we put 20% of our income into research and development. With a result, today, if anybody wants to start an academic career, we're the best place in the country.
Okay.
And with a result, we've been able to attract outstanding faculty. And other thing we say is that you're not going to spend time in administration. Traditionally in Indian academia, they spend a lot of time in administration.
Jannat, it's now time to bring in some reactions from the faculty members. Take a look at what they have to say.
I think the institute being research oriented, it provides you a platform wherein you get the opportunity to explore as a researcher. And the institute does provide a lot of support to us in terms of research, in terms of the funds, grants, conference travels, everything.
IIM Udaipur also has a very nice policy on research support, which helps a faculty member to visit different research conferences or research collaborations.
It's time for a short break. See you on the other side as we get up close and personal with the students and faculty of IIM Udaipur. Stay tuned. Welcome back to India's finest educators. It's now time to take a sneak peek into the daily life of the students at the campus and talk about what made them choose IIM Udaipur above the rest.
Well, I wanted to pursue my MBA from a college which is very academically oriented, and that's the main purpose of choosing IIM Udaipur.
When I was choosing institutes after my interviews done and I was getting the invites, so I was looking for, since MBA is all about peer-to-peer learning, so I was looking for an institute that can give me a diversity, where I can be a part of a diverse set of batch, because mostly if you see it's dominated by engineers. But when I looked at the data of IIM Udaipur, it gave huge diversity. The last batch had diversity.
Sandhya, welcome to India's finest educators. To begin with, take us through the different training and development programs offered to faculty members.
So it was a brilliant experience because in that workshop almost candidates from 30 countries joined. So we got to know different faculty members from different business schools and the courses that they used to teach. And in that workshop, what happened, it was not focused on any one particular course, but it was on the management thing. So different areas of management were covered. And I'll be happy to say that in that workshop only I got to know somebody and I started a joint case writing with the fellow person. So that kind of networks also we develop. So other than that Harvard thing, we are given an opportunity to spend 4 months of time abroad for our research skills development. So we coordinate with somebody who is good researchers and we work on a joint project.
Okay, so how does IIM Udaipur integrate the various industry partners to provide, real-time exposure to students?
We run a business school. So a business school without industry, you can't think of the existence of a business school. So there are various levels on which we integrate the industry experts into our whole curriculum. So I take example from the classes itself. So in any course, sometimes it happens an instructor can invite industry expert just to take few sessions during the course itself. So whatever theoretical concepts are going on in the course, the industry expert come and they throw light that in practice how these theories and these applications are done.
On this note, Sandhya, we would like to bring in some reactions from your students on the global exposure that they receive. Take a look at what they have to say.
In IIM Udaipur, we have 3 different programs through which students get a taste of global exposure. First is summer internship, through which students get to spend 2 months of their summer internship at international locations such as Dubai and Abu Dhabi. Second, we have international business practice, through which students get to work in live projects at international locations for about 2 to 3 weeks. International locations such as Dubai, Singapore, Malaysia and Thailand. And lastly, we have STEP, which is Student Exchange Program. IIM Udaipur has partnered with top-ranking business schools in Germany and France, and students get to study an entire semester at these schools.
To an extent, they take you out of your comfort zone. You have to learn on the job. And what is extremely helpful is the fact that I have a bunch of people with me on the same journey. So through the process, I learn from them, and it's very interactive that way.
Student residences on campus are located within easy walking distance from the academic block. We bring you details from the student diaries.
Hostels are very much enabled with all the amenities that are required in our day-to-day life. Talking about, let's say, the solar panels we have for the 24/7 hot water supply. We have ACs in our room. We have cooking facilities so that we can cook whenever we want.
We have one mess here, dedicated mess here. We have one canteen in the academic block, and we have one canteen which has 3 providers, which is serving us in night and is open till 3 AM in the morning.
The food is pretty good, and we get non-veg as well as veg options.
We have all the Wi-Fi facilities across the campus with 10 Mbps speed, so it's a seamless connectivity throughout the campus. If I talk about the cluster system, our hostels, so there are 6 different clusters over here.
With the energy of a startup culture, the Institute aims to set a new benchmark by combining excellence in both teaching and research. Let's find out what makes IIM Udaipur one of the finest institutions for education in India. Rajesh, welcome to India's finest educators.
Thank you.
To begin with, talk to us about the support from management that you receive from the management to innovate new teaching methods and also experiment with new teaching techniques at the campus.
There's nothing which tells us that we cannot try new things, for example. It's always encouraged that we try new things. And I teach marketing, for example. So we are quite interested in having, for me at least and for my fellow faculty, the key thing is to see how can a concept be delivered the best way. That is the whole idea. If it's through a case discussion, then we follow a case discussion for something. If it's through a class exercise, we might do it through a class exercise. If we think that a lecture is the best way of delivering that concept, that would be included. And this is totally up to me and to my fellow faculty to kind of decide how we do this.
What kind of emphasis is given on academic research?
So I think IIM Udaipur specifically, differs from many other places in India because of this particular focus on academic research. And academic research is is becoming more and more important in many top Indian institutions. So we, for example, faculty at IIM Udaipur, we do not have any admin responsibilities, right? So nobody heads the placement committee, for example. Placement process is not taken care by a faculty, right? So I have some teaching, I have a little bit of service, but my main focus as a faculty who is newer in the system is to do my research and to produce good quality research.
So let's bring in a lighter question. What is your motivation factor towards your job?
Okay. So my motivation was always to teach. That's why I did my PhD. But once I got into my PhD, I understood what research is. Okay. And I found that extremely fascinating, right? So I understood research and teaching. These are the two things that I'm really interested in. And academics gives me the perfect platform to follow both these passions. And IIM Udaipur, I think, is a great place because of the focus on research and, quality teaching.
And Rajesh, last but not the least, how do you ensure life-changing education is provided to the students at the university?
So I think, there are some institutional things that we do to make sure that that happens. I would like to highlight two things. So one is there's a rural immersion program that happens here for our students, right? And these students have to spend some time in rural areas, right? And trying to do a project there or trying to understand something which really impacts the people in the rural areas, right? So it gives them a different perspective. But it is always about how they have experienced life.
Rajesh, thank you for taking our time and joining us on India's Finest Educators. But before we let you go, we would like to bring in some reactions from your students. Take a look at what they have to say.
We have actually 41 permanent faculties in IIM Udaipur. All of them, they hold PhD degree and they have a couple of years of experience in teaching in various prestigious institutes like IIM Ahmedabad and ISB Bangalore. They are friendly, they are helpful. We have tutorials for difficult courses.
So in the first week of IIM Udaipur, we underwent 3 courses: design thinking, creative thinking and team building. So in the very first week when we came here, didn't know anyone and didn't really know what the course was about. So that was a really nice starter for us in this course. So those were one of the courses that were offered here. And other than that, throughout the first year, we're offered this course called Managerial Oral Communication, wherein we are taught how to present, how to face interviews, how do you attend conference meetings and everything. And then we have another course called Written Analysis and Communication, where we are taught how to write a report that you present. And based on the feedbacks that we get from corporate world, I think these 2 courses are essential for your first 5 years in a corporate world.
Yes, indeed, the faculty is amazing here. They are a mixture of their corporate experience as well as their research experience.
So regarding the new teaching techniques we have in IIM Udaipur, the first one is a rural immersion program, where in the first year the students will be divided into teams and will be sent to different villages in Rajasthan. So over there we have to notice and understand the various activities the villagers do regarding the business and also the manufacturing activities. The women chose how they carry out their daily activities and everything. We have to keep a diary of all the experiences. We have to come back to the college and report. And we also share each other these informations and we learn. And it's a kind of peer learning and also a real-time view of how the things are done in the villages of Rajasthan.
IIM Udaipur alumni community is a robust and diverse network of dynamic young professionals making a mark in the corporate world. Let's hear their story.
People who come across from all over India and what different kind of personalities they have, the ideas we share with each other, not even among ourselves and even with the professors and other people in the IMU fraternity, that has broadened our horizon, of our outlook of how we see things.
I made a switch in my career, which was before joining the IIM, I was part of the fashion industry. I was working there for about 6+ years. And after the course, I took a decision to I chose to move into a space which is life sciences. Totally a not known domain for me, absolutely new. And I think the reason why I could do this was the kind of rigor we went through at IIM.
I think the moment I stepped in the campus, we realized that in IIM Udaipur, it's all about, at least the first year is about academic discipline and rigor. And what that really taught us and the lessons that are still useful for us is how to get things done in time and under pressure.
A combination of rich heritage, modern culture, and a perfect location. IIM Udaipur truly marks the confluence where history meets the future. That's all we have on this episode of India's Finest Educators. Many thanks for watching.
Partnered by Times Influence.